Mr Deputy President, this is a short guide to the Baird Government's 6-step plan to force council amalgamations in this state. Step 1. Come up with a plan to force council amalgamations across the state and give your so-called reform the misleading branding of fit for the future. Step 2. Have the Independent Pricing and Regulatory Tribunal determine whether local councils are fit or not fit, but not before setting your own terms of reference guaranteeing to fail even the most financially robust councils. Step 3. Make sure to include in your methodology for assessing councils' fitness an ill-defined and arbitrary criteria called scale and capacity to make a false and misleading claim that the majority of well-functioning councils are unfit. Step 4. Write a menacing series of memos to all councils threatening forced amalgamations, and in those memos make personal threats to councillors. Despite having no credible evidence or economic justification for your reform in the first place. Step 5. Enlist a bunch of consultants like KPMG to conduct the financial modelling on council amalgamations, then quickly stamp all the documents Cabinet in confidence to ensure they can never be seen by the public. Step 6. Send your plans off to a bunch of hand-picked delegates of current and former coalition members and former bureaucrats to review the amalgamation proposals under rules set by the Premier. This is the Baird Government's 6-step plan for council amalgamations. It's a step-by-step guide to secrecy and deceit, and a prime example of how not to do democracy in this state. And sadly for Premier Baird, councils and communities just aren't buying their plan. The 35 amalgamation proposals are about as popular as a bunch of dead cats, and Premier Baird knows it. The government, or we can pretend the so-called independent delegates, have now given communities until Sunday the 28th of February to make their submissions. Public inquiries have already been held and delegates expected to report before the end of March. This entire consultation process has gone ahead with affected councils and residents being refused access to the crucial financial analysis underpinning the mergers. This is, of course, the mysterious KPMG reports hidden by the government. So on Christmas Eve, my office made a series of GIPA requests to the Office of Local Government, Minister for Local Government and Department of Local Government, requesting all of the KPMG modelling analysis for every proposed council amalgamation proposal. The first response we received was from the Office of Local Government, and I'll read it. Reasonable searches have been undertaken of the OLG's records. No information falling within the scope of your application has been identified. It seems curious, doesn't it, that the bureaucrats charged with informing the government about whether or not local governments should be amalgamated or not in the future haven't even seen the modelling. We then received a response from Minister Toole's office, which went along the lines of, oh, thank you for your request. All of the financial modelling is already available on the website. And that the only documents that have been withheld, according to Minister Toole, are an October 2015 business case and a December 2015 merger impact analysis. They are both, we're told, stabbed Cabinet in confidence, never to be released. Just a few days later, though, we received the third and final response from the Department of Premier and Cabinet. And that response actually shed some light on what's happened, because it turns out there's more than just the business case and merger impact report hidden. The Premier's office has another 22 secret reports, hidden from councils, hidden from residents and stamped never to be released. But if the Minister for Local Government has never seen the documents, and I'll give him the credit that I assume his answer is true, the Office of Local Government's never seen the documents, then what's this say about the sham process? It's a hatchet job directed by the Premier. If the case was robust, they'd put the evidence in the public domain, and it's obviously not, and that's why they're hiding it. So over the last few months, I've been across this wonderful state and spoken directly with mayors, councillors and affected residents. I've been to Tumbarumba, where the council led by Mayor Ian Chaffey are so supported by the community. My office has literally been flooded with hundreds of letters opposing an amalgamation in Tumut, and I'd say, save Tumbarumba Council. The message is the same in Oberon, where Mayor Kathy Sajewicz is standing with her residents to keep Oberon a strong, independent council with a clear focus on promoting the economic, social and environmental welfare of the local area. Down in Kiama, the place is in revolt, led by Mayor Brian Peschler, who knows that his residents will lose if they're forced into an amalgamation with Shoalhaven. They're standing up against the Premier. Mayor Ian Gosper and the unflagging Cabon community stand in the same queue. Excellent local leadership, strongly united local councils. It's the same in Junee, Upper Lachlan, Naranda, Yass, Murrumbidgee, across the state. And when you speak to councils and communities, they know the figures don't just add up. They know what local government really needs is to fix the funding first, not force amalgamations. And while the government's at it, you should support the Greens' long-standing call to prohibit property developers and real estate estate agents from being elected to local councils. Local government deserves nothing less.
The Honourable Dr.
Thank